Hi everyone, this is Moses again. Welcome to class today. Now the topic we want to look at today is transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, and this is a classification of lexical verbs. So let's start the lesson. Let's start the lesson right away. Okay, the first thing we need to look at is what does transitive verbs mean? A transitive verb requires an object. Or you could say a transitive verb is a verb that has an object. Okay, now if you wonder what an object is, I'm going to quickly show you in this example. Now, James killed a snake. James killed a snake. Now, in this example, in this sentence, we have James as the subject of the sentence who performs the action. And we have a snake as an object which receives the action. So we regard an object as the receiver of the action that is performed in a sentence, or you say the recipient of the action. Okay, so what's the action in this sentence? That's killed. Okay, so James is the subject who performs the action, who is regarded as a doer of the action, and the verb is the action. And then the receiver of the action is a snake. Okay, so let's look at another example. Anne gave John a book. Anne gave John a book. Now in this sentence, as you can see underlined, we have Anne as a subject, gave as a verb, and we have a book as a direct object. That's what I mean by this, a direct object. And then we have John as indirect object. Now let me quickly explain what the concept of direct and indirect object. Verbs like gave, they usually have two objects. As you can see here, John is an object and a book is an object. Now it is not all verbs in English that can function like this. Verbs like killed, you can see here it has only one object. So gave can have two objects and it can have only one. Alright, so when you have a verb that has two objects, what you call them is ditransitive verbs. Ditransitive. As you can see, the meaning of die is two. Okay, here you can see verbs that have only one object are called monotransitive verbs, and the one that has two objects are called ditransitive verbs. So just always remember this, that some verbs can have two objects. I'm going to give you some more examples of such verbs in a moment. But how do you know which one is direct object, which one is indirect object? Okay, that's not so difficult. It's not difficult at all. All right. If you look at this verb gave, the verb is in direct relationship with a book. So what Anne was holding that she gave is a book. All right. John then receives the book from Anne. So there is direct relationship between gave and a book, while John has an indirect relationship with gave. So we say that John is an indirect object and a book is a direct object. Alright, so let me quickly give you some more examples of ditransitive verbs. Alright, you have give, you have buy, bring, send, show, tell. All these are ditransitive verbs. They can be used with two objects. Okay. Alright, so let's look at more examples. The girl hit the ball. The girl hit the ball. We told them an interesting story. My friend sent me a letter last week. I have done the assignment. Okay, look at these examples. The girl hit the ball. Alright, hit is a verb, and the ball is, the object. What did the girl hit? Alright, it's the ball. So this is the object. We told them an interesting story. Told is the verb here. Them is an object, an interesting story is another object. All right, so an interesting story here is a direct object, while them is an indirect object. Okay, my friend sent me a letter last week. Sent is a verb in this sentence. Me is an object. A letter is an object. Okay, so a letter here is a direct object, while me is an indirect object. Usually in a sentence, the direct object comes after the indirect object. So, take note of that. I have done the assignment. That's example 4. I have done the assignment. The assignment here is the object, and have done is the verb. Okay, so the last example is I hate it. I hate it. So it is the object of this sentence, of the sentence, okay, and hate was the verb. All right, hate has only one object here, and so it is a monotransitive verb. So it has an object. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, there's something you need to note here too before we move ahead. An object can be a noun, a pronoun, noun phrase, or a noun clause. So take note of that. When you see a noun, a pronoun, a noun phrase, or a noun clause that comes immediately after a verb, that is, regarded as the object of that verb. Okay, it is regarded as the object of that verb. Especially, okay, you have to note that the verb carries an action. It transfers an action from the subject to the object. So when you see a verb that does that, and then you see a noun or a pronoun or a noun phrase or a noun clause that comes after it, then it is a transitive verb. Okay, and when it has one object, then you call it a monotransitive. When it has two objects, you call it ditransitive. So let's move ahead. And the next thing is to check what's the meaning of intransitive verbs. An intransitive verb does not require an object, neither does it have an object. So you can say an intransitive verb is a verb that does not require or have an object. An example is my head aches. My head aches. My head aches. Now, my head is the subject of this sentence, and the action here is aches. Aches does not require any object for it to have a complete meaning. For the sentence to be complete, there's no need to add an object to this. So this is what an intransitive verb is. Okay, this is subject and that's a verb. Okay, I am traveling to London. I'm traveling to London. Look at this. I is the subject of this sentence. I'm traveling is a verb. To London is not, of course, it's not a noun phrase, neither is it a noun. This is a prepositional phrase. So you should not be confused that there is something after I'm traveling. Okay, it doesn't matter that there is a group of words or there is a word after the verb. What matters is, does the verb transfers an action? If it does it require a noun for it to have a complete meaning? Okay, so those are the questions that you need to ask. So I am traveling can stand alone. You don't need to, add any object to it, any noun or a noun phrase whatsoever for it to make a complete sense. All right, so let's look at more examples. The girl is coming. The girl is coming. Now, the girl, in this sentence, we have the girl as the subject, and the verb here is coming. Is coming is a verb, but it doesn't require any object. The sentence is complete without any noun or noun phrase or whatever to stand as an object. All right. We danced at the party. We danced at the party. Look at this. In this verb, danced is complete on its own. You cannot ask a question, what did you dance? We danced at the party. That is sufficient. Okay? Alright? Anne is praying. Anne is praying. Is praying here is the verb which is intransitive. laughed, he laughed, he laughed, he laughed. The laughed here is a verb that does not require any object. All right, so let's see another very important point here, and that is that some verbs can be used as both transitive and intransitive verbs. All right, and that depends on the context of use. Now look at this. The phone rang. The phone rang. Now ring here can be used as an intransitive verb. As you can see, it doesn't have an object. But look at another example. Someone rang the bell. Someone rang the bell. Look at this. The bell here is needed for this sentence to be complete. Of course, if you say someone rang, the question will come, what did someone ring? What? That's a question, okay? So the bell, answers that question. So when you see, when you want to, test whether a verb is transitive or intransitive, you need to put it in a sentence and find out whether it can sufficiently, convey, the meaning, the action without an object. All right. Look at another example. The food smells bad. All right. The food smells bad. Bad here is not a noun, neither is it a noun phrase. Okay. So it's an adjective. Bad is an adjective. So it's not an object. So you cannot say smells here has an object. It is intransitive verb here. Okay. Of course, we can remove bad and have the food smells. The food smells. So this is an intransitive use of smell. But look at this. I could smell alcohol on his breath. So smell here requires alcohol as an object for it to have a complete meaning. The door has opened. The door has opened. Here, open is used as intransitive verb, but look at this. She has opened the door. That is what was opened. What did she open? The door. So this noun phrase, the door, is the object of the verb open. Okay? He left for Lagos yesterday. He left for Lagos yesterday. Left here, is used in an intransitive context. So it doesn't have an object. There is no noun. For Lagos, it's not a noun, neither is it a noun phrase. Of course, you know this. So look at this example. He left his bag on the table. He left his bag on the table. Look at this. His bag is an object that tells us what he left. Okay, so this is a transitive verb, while this is intransitive verb. Okay, let's look at more examples. All these verbs are capable of functioning as intransitive verbs and at the same time as a transitive verb. So you can use them in both circumstances: begin, drop, win, jump, start, eat, sing, run, play, and speak. All these can be used as transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay, so as I close the class today, I want you to note something. When you talk about transitive verb, okay, the verb has an object, and the object answers the question what or who after the verb. So you could say, I could smell. If I just come in and say, I could smell, then you ask me, what can you smell? Okay, so that question will be answered by an object. So that is how to determine whether a verb is transitive or intransitive. And I believe that you have learned something valuable today. Don't forget, ensure that you subscribe to this channel so that each time I upload a new video, you are going to get a notification and you will not miss my lessons. Okay, and do endeavor to share this video with anyone that you love, that you would love them to learn this important aspect of English language. Thank you for watching today. See you another time.